How to work well with others. The art of the business lunch. Here's the situation. There's two of you, and you're the less important person. Maybe you're having lunch with your boss. Maybe you're having lunch with someone who may someday be your boss. The point is, the other person has the upper hand and is probably paying. If you're a party of two at a four-top, sit next to each other, not across from each other. At a business lunch, intimacy is a virtue. There might be secrets. Anyway, do you really want to stare at the other person while he's eating? Do you really want to be stared at? Which begs the question, why are you having lunch? Why not just meet on a park bench for 15 minutes? Do we really want to look at our colleagues and business associates eating food? But I digress. Order club soda with lemon. Club soda is basically fun water, and it's an indication to the other person that you'd likely have a drink should the other person order one. Spend no more than 20 seconds deciding what food to order. You're right, the fish does sound delicious. No red sauce. No burgers. No burgers involving red sauce. Nothing described as scratch-made. Takes too long. Notorious tooth magnets. Spinach, broccoli, poppy seeds, blackberries. Nothing that might squirt you. Lobster, a baked tomato. If there's a lot more food on your plate than the other person's plate, you're talking too much. If there's less food on your plate than the other person's, you're not talking enough. You're probably not getting the check, but you should make the move. You know, the move. The tentative, I might be scratching my back, I might be going for money. In lunch and in business, you have to make the move. Also, a slice of lemon will get that right out.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, good afternoon. How are you today? I hope you are always healthy and always happy. Then, the Honorable Mr. Susan Febriantina, SPD MPD, as a lecturer in Business English Course 2. Before we start, I will introduce the member of Group 4. The first is Dina Mandasari as the first speaker. The second is Firda Zania as the second speaker. The third is Ipa Ramadhani as the third speaker. And the last is myself. My name is Sifa Hidayat as the fourth speaker and moderator. Okay, now, in this running video, we will discuss the material about inviting guests to eat and how to accept or decline the invitation. Now, I will explain about etiquette business lunch. Business can be fraught with opportunities for things to go wrong. If you do everything right, no one really notices it. But if you get it wrong, you screw up big time, and the deal might not happen. So the goal is to keep others around you comfortable, not to draw any negative attention to yourself, so your personality and what you have to say can shine. Today, we discuss business and client lunch etiquette. Business lunch are important for corporate networking, hammering out business details in social setting and meeting prospective clients. The gatherings mean far more than a free lunch, and your etiquette is of utmost importance. Your image, your company's name, and whatever deals are on the agenda are at stake. Whether hosting or attending a business lunch, you can directly contribute to making the gathering a good one. Most business lunch take place during a workday, so chances are you are already in business attire. However, before going to the gathering, it's important to gauge how dressed up your clients will be. Your company might need to be as dressy as your clients. In this case, bring a change of clothes, probably a suit, and change before lunch. If you are underdressed, your clients will notice. The key is not stand out in negative way, and being underdressed is a negative thing. Of course, etiquette can also be different in South America, the US, Europe, or Asia. Business lunch are a big part of American business culture. Deals might be agreed upon before the bill even arrives. However, other countries do not spend their business lunch is the same way, and some don't work at lunch at all. When you travel, do you notice that periods of productivity connectivity from nation to nation. When you are in another country, it's the best to work when he locals work. If you want to get anything done, and now let me tell you about some difference in lunch business etiquette in different countries. First, mixing business and pleasure in Italy. Countries differ on whether or not business should even be be, be conducted over a meal. In Italy, lunch is seen as an important part of the day to relax, and the country pauses to enjoy the meal. Expect it to last up to 3 or 4 hours, as Italians will suffer their food even when work is being discussed. Of course, in the United States and Canada, this length of time would be seen as excessive, even when discussing work. Second, mealtime rituals in Japan. Some countries are very precious about their meals. In Japan, workers might have as much as an hour for lunch, but lunch only occurs between 12 and 1 in the afternoon. Business lunch must therefore usually occur during those time. The ritual of greeting one business associate in Japan is important. The depth of your bow indicates the level of respect you have for the person. It is therefore advised that you practice beforehand, in case you need to reciprocate. Third, German lunchtime, productive and pragmatic. In German, meanwhile, workers attempt to take short lunch break so that they can finish their work earlier. Business lunch there are usually about eating, and any discussion about business will occur at the end of the meal, if at all. Unlike Italians, the German lunch is not a celebration, but rather a refueling, with business space left for the office. Unsurprisingly, the German people are prompt, so you should always be on time for lunch if you are going to meet with them. Much like Japan, they have very specific ideas about mealtime, and you would be wise to observe them when visiting their nation. Fourth, take heed of hygiene in India. In some countries, it is important to make note of cultural hygiene practice. In India, it is important to remember to only eat with your right hand, which is considered the clean hand for eating. If you are a left-handed person, it might seem strange at first. Unlike Germany, it is not considered offensive if you arrive a little late, but don't arrive early. Your host might find it rude, as they are still preparing dinner. Also important is to finish what you take. It is considered offensive to leave food on your plate. 5. British lunch, like America with Morty. In England, business lunch are so common that you will need to schedule yours in advance if you expect to see your associate for a meal. Often, these are scheduled through personal assistants, and it might behoove you to schedule a couple of weeks in advance. Much like the unit status, working through lunch is common, and you will find the emphasis on work rather than on eating. Most British business people escape an agenda prior to lunch as well, so plan to circulate your beforehand if you're running the meeting. The most important thing to remember when dining with people in another country is that you are their guests, and so their custom and ritual trump your own. Many mistakes can be avoided by simply remaining observant and noticing what is and is not done. Even though you are bound to make small mistakes sometimes, being gracious goes a long way. Remember to research before you travel and to treat each meal as a learning experience. Okay, now we move to the next material. The next material will be read by Ipa Ramadhani.
Thanks to moderator. Now I will explain the next material. It's always important to understand the culture you are in and what the local etiquette is. Business lunch is essential. Over-remote partnership format and deals were closed daily over lunchtime. For the most part, that type of midday meeting is long gone. But with today's communication technology overload, the face-to-face business lunch is still an important way to build relationship and is perhaps even more valuable today than it was 50 years ago. And now let's focus on the rules that must be followed when having a business lunch with colleagues. Follow these simple rules to make a business lunch both productive and enjoyable. The first, get the invitation right. Lunch with a client, potential business partner, or new colleagues can often be more productive than an office meeting. Getting out of the office and off the phone creates an environment more conducive to relaxing and candid conversation. When inviting someone to lunch, be respectful of his or her time and position. If inviting a superior you don't know well, don't risk being presumptuous. You might opt for suggesting coffee instead. The two would choose the spot. If you are inviting, offer up some suggestion and let your guests pick. If they don't care, it's on you. But make sure to be careful and anticipate their preference. You don't want to bring a vegetarian to a steakhouse. It, if inviting someone to discuss next year budget cuts, best to skip the meal at the most expensive restaurant in town. If you go choose the place, don't forget to compliment her on the choice. The third is time and place. Get there early. Always know the setup of the restaurant and make sure both the venue and your table are right for your objective. One of my colleagues swear by this rule. If it's a celebratory or casual lunch with people he knows well, he gets a table in a central area closer to the bar, where it's typically more boisterous. If it's a serious conversation and he wants to get something accomplished, he optional for a quick table in the corner. The next, when to talk business. On the golf course, the common rules of thumb is not to get down the business. Salah ya. Ini ulang ya, salah ya. Yang keempat nih ulang. When to talk business. On the golf course, the common rule of thumb is not to get down to business before the fourth hole. At the table is a bit more ambiguous. My advice, if you are having a social conversation, don't bring up business until you have received your drinks and order your meals. Then, when business talk comments, frame the conversation around your goals. Ask about her business, what she's working on, and where she needs help. This will give you a clear understanding of context and provide a natural segue into explaining how you and your company might be of assistance. 5. Speaking of drinks. Sorry, don't drink if you are taking clients to lunch and your company is paying. You should probably skip the alcohol. But if your client wants to imbibe, let him order a drink. A good rule of thumb is to let your guests order first, so they are not inhibited by your choice. The sixth is handling the bill. There is an art to handling the bill. You want to be carefully. Bentar-bentar. Yang keenam, The sixth is handling the bill. There is an art to handling the bill. You want to be careful about it. When the check arrives, be nimble and reach for it swiftly, but keep looking your client in the eye if they are speaking. By all means, don't stare at the line item with anything like shock or horror that says if there's an error with the bill. Excuse yourself to talk to the waiter politely without making your guests feel uncomfortable. And when it's time to pay, act naturally. Don't disrupt the conversation, but make eye contact with the waiter so that he picks up your credit card quickly. The seventh is turn off your phone. You may already know how I feel about this, but I will say it again. Turn off your phone. Now is not the time to be checking your incoming email or texting your colleagues. I have seen some people pick up their phones between calls instead of talking to other at the table. Just don't. Finally, have fun. Be yourself. There is a reason you are not in the office. You can accomplish quite a lot with business lunch, but you seldom lose sight of why they work so well. When people can relax and have a good time, they are more likely to open up, making it easier to strengthen a business relation. And those are the rules that can be followed when we have a business lunch with coworkers. But you know what? There are several things that are forbidden to do when we have a business lunch with colleagues. The following are things that are forbidden to do when we are having a business lunch with colleagues. The first, ask a stranger to lunch to pick their brain. If you follow worth more than the cost of their lunch, ask someone to lunch because you want to meet them, not because you want them to consult with you for free. The second is extend an invitation to a stranger and specify the restaurant, date, or time. You don't want to signal to anyone that your needs to pursue their own. If you invite a stranger to lunch, the question is, would you have time to have lunch with me? Don't ever specify a restaurant, a date, or time when you invite a stranger to meet you. The third is invite someone to lunch at a spot near you but far away to a friend and say, want to have lunch next time you are close to my office? If you want to see them, you can meet them halfway. The fourth is ask a stranger to lunch without offering to pay for their lunch. If someone you don't already know is willing to have lunch with you, you must pay for their lunch. The fifth is invite someone to lunch without checking to make sure the restaurant will be open for lunch. I am making a reservation if appropriate. Do not subject your lunch partner to the pain of waiting in a long line to be set for lunch. Check out any restaurant you suggest to make sure you will be able to or at the hour you prefer. The sixth, drink to excess. The day of the three martini business lines are thankfully over. Do you really need a drink with your lines? And seven, argue with your server about the food or the service. If your food was cold or the service was bad, so what? Don't make a pleasant lunch that unpleasant by arguing about it. Just let it go. The eighth, make or accept a lunch invitation without clarifying the financement arrangement. Never assume that someone who invite you to lunch will be paying for your lunch. An easy way to determine who's paying is to reply to a lunch invitation with, I'm watching my budget, but we can have coffee one day. If your friend intends to pay for your lunch, they will reply and tell you so. The ninth is cancel a lunch date at the last minute except in a true emergency. A true emergency is when you, a dear friend, or a close family member is physically ill or injured. That's it. If you cancel a lunch date at the last minute because you are too busy at work, then you don't deserve any more lunch date. The time is order this that will inconvenience your friends. People are busy. They don't want to have to sit with you while the chef prepares the house pella or any time-consuming dish for you. The next is take a phone call. Answer text or fiddle with your phone during lunch. The minute you get to the restaurant, put your phone face down on the table or put it in your pocket. You are at lunch with someone who deserves your full attention. Leave your phone alone. The next is let your subordinate pay for their own lunch. If you are a manager and you invite someone on your team to have lunch with you, you pay for their lunch. No exception. The company pay for your subordinates to lunch if the policy allow it, and you personally pay for it if the police doesn't allow. You ask someone on your team to give up their private lunch time to hang out with you, so you foot their lunch bill. The next, talk about other employees. It is astonishing what people will say aloud in a crowded restaurant. Don't make your lunch partner or other diners uncomfortable by talking about private company matter at lunch. No matter how much you insist that nobody else cares, it's impolite and tactful to talk about people behind their backs and doubly so in public. The next, bushwalk someone. Many a struggling executive has been taken to lunch by their CEO only to be told, we're going to have to let you go. Right over there, this of pasta. Bushwalking someone at lunch is a horrible management technique. It's a technique used by coworkers who need to deliver bad news in a public place so the recipient of the bad news cannot react to it the way they would in a private place, like the office. The last, fail to say thank you when someone buy your lunch. The fact that good manner required the boss or the person who made the lunch invitation to pay the bill doesn't not mean that the person was lunch was both fair. Wah, maaf, ulang. Yang dari 15. Bismillah. The last, fail to say thank you when someone buy your lunch. The fact that good manner requires the boss or the person who made the lunch invitation to pay the bill does not mean that the person whose lunch was booked for them doesn't need to say thanks. Thanks for that wonderful lunch. They do. Even if the lunch was atrocious and the service by small, you still have to say thanks after all. It's the thought that counts. Okay, the next material will be ready by Dinda Manda.
Right. Have you understood the rules and prohibitions that should not be done when eating together with colleagues? If you have understood it, then we will move to the next step, namely how to invite colleagues to lunch. Maybe some of you often feel awkward or embarrassed when you invite colleagues to lunch together. Therefore, I will give some examples and tips to invite colleagues to lunch together without feeling awkward between each other. The first thing you should do is 1. Dig up information. The first important thing you should do if you want to hold a meeting outside the office is to get as much general information about the client as possible from his secretary or the company he works for. Find out what makes your client happy, such as their favorite restaurant for a lunch or a topic you want to discuss at the meeting. That way, you can minimize the trivial attitude that can irritate your clients. 2. Arrive early. Came late because of traffic jams? It's stale. Try to come to the luncheon that has been agreed 15 or 30 minutes before the specified schedule. That way, you can relax more and relearn the meeting material that you want to run. Because this meal is held at lunch, you can put yourself first by eating the menu that has been ordered before starting negotiations or making sure that the food to be served will be ready before the meeting takes place. That way, the atmosphere of the meeting will feel more relaxed, business discussion will be more focused. 3. Provide coffee or tea. It is common knowledge that the time before lunch is a time that is prone to sleepiness. Therefore, when the lunch meeting will take place, try to provide coffee or tea for the meeting participants to ensure they are awake during the meeting. 4. Choose common foods. If you are present as an invite for a lunch meeting, then it's better for the lunch menu choice. Try to choose dishes that are common and easy to eat. Try to choose a lunch menu that is liked by most people, is allergy-free, and is also easy to eat using a spoon and fork. On the other hand, if you are invited, then wait for the inviter to offer you food and drinks. Stop eating when everyone is done eating. 5. Choose the right and conducive restaurant. The place for the lunch banquet should be tailored to the client's preference. If the client likes a quiet place, choose a private room. However, if the client likes a more lively atmosphere, a restaurant with music at lunch can be an option. After determining the right place to eat, it's a good idea to pay attention to the road access to the place. Avoid meeting at locations that are notorious for traffic jams. But most importantly, consult all the options you have prepared and provide several alternative places to the client. 6. Open with chat. After meeting with colleagues or business partners at the agreed open place, avoid discussing business immediately before ordering food. Have small talk, such as talking about the news that day, the weather, or other light topics. From this conversation, try to catch everything that is implied. This could be the perfect time to smooth out your goals. 7. Set deadlines and targets. High-risk lunch meetings confuse the focus of the meeting between work and eating. In order to run well, set a time and target in advance. For example, if the meeting is held at 10 or 11, then the meeting needs to be held first, then lunch. However, if the meeting is held at 12 o'clock, invite the client to eat first to discuss the main topic. Then discuss the main topic. 8. Focus on the client and the target achieved. When entertaining relationships, of course, there is a mission to be achieved. Don't get carried away in an atmosphere and professional goals will be dispersed. It is very important to change the phone setting to silent. Also, ignore the circumstances around you. Focus on the client and what is being discussed. If you want to talk about something else, do it after the meeting has reached its target. Coming without a target and an empty brain can make a meeting produce nothing except for a full stomach. 9. Bring work tools. Even though the meeting is more relaxed, the use of work tools such as laptops, stationery, and paper are still items that must be broke to see the outline that has been made and record the results of the meeting. If browsing is important, then Wi-Fi facilities need to be considered. As much as possible, avoid social networking sites or chat that has nothing to do with the theme of the meeting. Remember, even if it's done over lunch, the meeting still requires full concentration. And then, end with a special message. After the lunch meeting went smoothly, don't stop your efforts just to stop there. End a series of meetings by sending an email to the client. Give thanks and express your happiness because the client wants to fulfill the invitation to the meeting. Don't forget to include the conclusion of the conversation at the luncheon to reaffirm that the two of you have an agreement. And that's all about. Stop dulu, Dede. And that's all the examples and tips to invite your colleagues to lunch together without feeling awkward between each other. And now we will move to the next material, and the next material will be read by Firda Azani.
Okay, thank you, Dinda. Those are some examples of how we can invite coworkers to have lunch together. Looks like you won't feel awkward anymore to invite coworkers to eat together. Now that we have discussed how to invite to eat together, then we will discuss the opposite of the material I'll explain early, namely how to refuse a coworker's invitation to have lunch together. There must be some of you who feel that someday you want to use time for yourself, or maybe you have worked lunch for home, so you don't want to leave the office for lunch together. There are times when your financial condition turns out to be bad, so you cannot eat out of the office with coworkers. But if you use an excuse like that, you will definitely feel bad or embarrassed when you say it. Then, here are some sample sentences or ways you can refuse an invitation to lunch with coworkers. 1. Thank you for the invitation, but sorry, I cannot. You can refuse the invitation with a kind sentence like the ones above. It shows that you are happy to have been invited to a pre-planned activity, but you refuse because you don't want to join. You can reason that you have things that needs to be done or because you are uncomfortable because the pandemic is getting worse, the new variant of mutation. 2. Sorry, I don't want. I like the moment will be very close. You can reply or refuse the invitation by giving reasons that you feel uncomfortable or don't like a certainly atmosphere. Then Friedman say that is important not to try to change a mindset about being comfortable because everyone has the right to have their own feeling of well-being. 3. Really want, but it's like another time. Yes. Even talk or reply like that makes your friend or your best friend most likely to make new plans next time. So you can come alone, but at least you have told them that you actually want to be with them too, but not no. 4. I cannot, as house people don't give you permission. If you feel that going out of the house and crowding can be dangerous for you and your family, then you can reply to them by explaining the reasons that the people closer to you need to be taken care of and the reason for you parents to stay alert can also be used as an excuse. Next. 5. It's possible to get out snow. It can be erased, right? This is a great way to demonstrate how to connect and reduce risk. Explain down. This is good for you and for your friend to find a solution. 6. I cannot join like this because there is still a pandemic. It's important to remind each other and show concern to those you care about and love. Text replies like that show that you are feeling actions about the pandemic and you want to avoid it. 7. I have never been a high check, so I cannot join for fear of making people sick. Saying the risk to yourself does sometimes work. To explain it to a friend, it becomes a gentle and polite rejection because you don't want to hurt anyone, so your friend or your best friend can accept that excuse. And the last, I'm still not ready to meet a lot of people. Sorry, I cannot. Telling how you feel and telling the truth about your comfort is the right thing to refuse other people's invitation. So that later you can come up with ideas to hang out with another time. And the last is conclusion. The conclusion is explained by Siva Laili.
Thank you, Firda Azania. Okay, now we move to the conclusion. Business lunch are a big part of American business culture. The deal might be agreed even before the bill arrives. However, other countries don't spend their business lunch in the same way, and some don't work at all at lunch. Each country has different business lunch etiquette, including first, mixing business and pleasure in Italy. Second, Japanese mealtime rituals. Third, German lunch time, productive and pragmatic. Fourth, pay attention to hygiene in India. It is very important for you to understand the culture and etiquette of the country you are going to visit. There are a few rules to follow to make business lunch productive and enjoyable. 1. Get invitation right. 2. Who chooses the place. 3. Time and place. 4. When to talk business. 5. Let the client order first. 6. Handling bills. 7. Turn off your phone. 8. Finally, have fun. In addition to above rules, there are also prohibitions that you must pay attention to when doing business lunch, including 1. Don't make the impression that you want them to consult you for free. 2. Don't specify a place, date, or time. 3. Don't order a place far from the client's location. 4. Don't let the client pay the bill. 5. Don't make the client wait too long at the location. 6. Don't drink too much. 7. Don't argue with other people. 8. Make or escape lunch invitation without explaining a financial arrangement. 9. Cancel lunch dates at the last minutes unless it's a real emergency. 10. Don't order dishes that make your clients uncomfortable. 11. Don't play with your phone. 12. Talking about other people. 13. Failing to say thank you. Okay, this conclusion is the final part of our presentation. In this video, is there a shortage in our group? Please understand. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next learning video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.